to the Prime Minister's Florence speech. To assess how the speech is being received in Brussels, we can talk now to the Belgian MEP, Philippe Lambert, who is on the European Parliament Brexit Steering Group. Welcome to the Daily Politics. How did you receive the speech by Theresa May in Florence?
Well, my reaction was better late than never. She could have made these openings at Lancaster House last year. She could have made them when she triggered Article 50, and it took her until September this year to do it. So what a waste of time. Well, if the UK is serious about opening talks on the future relationship, then time is of the essence, and we are still dithering. We have been waiting for a long time to see these openings. Now they have to be translated into real negotiation proposals in the talks that are taking place in Brussels as we speak. We'll see whether that is the case, but even if it were the case, I wonder whether it is still possible to declare that sufficient progress has been achieved to open the second phase of negotiations as of October. I have my doubts about that because, well, for instance, if you look at Ireland, declaring that there will be no physical border is a nice thing, but actually the only way to get there would, for instance, to have the whole island of Ireland part of the single market, and we know that this is not in the cards. So what I believe is that there are some internal contradictions in the UK position that will make it very difficult for the British government to substantify the principles that Theresa May has announced last week in Florence.
Right, but she has moved. Theresa May did make an offer financially, without a specific figure on it, but saying that she wouldn't, want to leave EU members out of pocket. She also talked about the transition period, where things would stay pretty much the same. So if she's moved and you accept that, why doesn't that now unlock the negotiations to start talking more broadly about a free trade deal, which would actually solve the issue of talking about the border in Ireland?
I hope that you will appreciate that one thing is to make speeches, another thing is to agree on things on paper, and that is precisely what is being done this week in Brussels. So if, for instance, on the financial settlement, if her promises are translated into firm offers and a specific response of the UK government to the very detailed document that the European Commission has put on the table already a number of weeks ago, then indeed progress will be made on this issue, and indeed we might get closer to sufficient progress on that front. Ireland, I told you how difficult it would be, because basically sufficient progress would mean that we have the outline of the solution. And right now we have principles, but we do not have a solution that fits those principles. And the point I was making is that actually the various principles that have been announced are irreconcilable with one another. So I have yet to see the contours of a solution. On citizens' rights, I think this is the area where the most progress has been booked so far. I think that we need to make clear what the jurisdiction of the ECJ will be, and what the rights of the people who currently reside in the UK will be. Probably there too, there's still a chance to meet the target. But again, on Ireland, I really fail to see how we can reconcile those differences. And to be honest, sometimes I think that this might be the factor that will derail the Brexit negotiation even more than money, because the principles that the UK government has put on paper, so a border, because, well, UK out of the single market, UK out of the customs union means a border, and at the same time no border. I mean, well, you can't have it both ways, and this I don't know how we reconcile.
Okay, so you actually think, Philippe Lambert, that Ireland, the issue of that border, could be the issue that derails these Brexit negotiations above all other, despite the fact that both sides seem to be genuinely committed to finding a workable solution?
Yeah, no, I agree with the commitment. I have no doubt that there is commitment, but one thing is to have a commitment. The other thing is whether this is practically possible, There's only so much that you can deviate from reality, and if the reality is that some want a border while saying that they want no border, I mean, I don't know how you reconcile that. And so, for all the goodwill that you may see around the table, you can't, it's not just a question of having your cake and eating it, it's having countries, black and white. It's very hard to have it at the same time.
Philippe Lambert, thank you very much for joining us. And joining me here in Brighton is the Labour MP John Mann, who supported leave in the